Hello, and welcome to Glorious and Free with BOG. I'm your host, Bryan O'Gorman, and this is my guest this week, Cal Post.
Hello.
This is the first time we've done this, Cal. Do you like our new setup?
I love the setup. It's half mine.
Yeah, you guys, we are recording live, as always, from the handicap stall in the bathroom of the CIA building. What are you laughing at? Cal, let's have a drink here.
Cheers, buddy.
Toast to the inaugural show. Cheers. And Cal, if you don't know, is a stand-up comedian who's traveled all over the good goddamn, one of the finest stand-ups we have in Canada.
That's why you don't know who I am?
That's why. If you don't know who we are, that's because we've been living in obscurity doing comedy on the road for the last 10 years. And we're trying to change that now.
Canada. Sorry.
We're going to give a shout-out to our sponsors, Cal.
We have sponsors?
Buddy, we got to pay the bills, as
Fuck
they
yeah.
say.
Don't say anything wrong. They'll fire you.
No, I won't. Well, this is from our sponsor, comes out of Washington, D.C.
Oh, shit.
It's called Crazy Barack's Used Drone Lot. Come on down to Crazy Barack's Used Drone Lot. Are you looking to buy, sell, or trade a military-grade drone? Then come on down to Crazy Barack's Used Drone Lot off the D.C. Turnpike near the Burger King. Are you sick of waiting in bushes to smite your enemies with a Rambo knife? Are you finally ready to upgrade your weapons of vendetta and really take it to your foes? Well then, come on down to see our drone lot where we've got hundreds of previously enjoyed flying death robots for you to choose from. Come before Labor Day and we'll throw in the undercoating for free. That's fair of them. Been nice. That's Crazy Barack's Used Drone Lot. It's the District of Columbia's #1 source for that new summer Predator drone that's sure to keep the ladies smiling and your enemies dying. Come on down to Crazy Barack's Used Drone Lot, where the death comes from above, but the prices come from below. That's nice of them, huh?
It's very sweet.
Yeah, man. I'm glad that the former president has found something to do, too.
You gotta stay in business.
I like Barack Obama. What about you, Cal?
I like him.
I like him.
But I mean, just being president means you're gonna be a bad person.
At some point, you think, like, to even become the leader of America, you probably got at least 100 bodies under your belt.
Minimum.
Minimum 100 bodies.
Yeah, and that means you're the best president.
Plus, he came out of, like, Illinois. Like, he came up through the Chicago system, so he probably had to, like, piano wire a couple guys to even get into that position, you know? Chicago's gnarly like that.
Just fucking ninja-ing out of a ceiling.
Yeah.
President.
Well, we're going to talk today about a couple different things. Cal, we've got Doug Ford. He's the Premier of Ontario here in Canada. And brother of former Mayor of Toronto and fat crackhead Rob Ford.
I got it. If you can't take care of your fat-ass body,
Right.
you shouldn't be allowed to take care of a country or a province.
That's probably
You
fair.
can't hit the treadmill. How are you going to fucking run and organize?
Yeah, you can't deal with those muffin tops. You can't deal with this foreign policy.
You can't say no to brie cheese.
We're gonna
Fucker.
we're gonna talk about some dictators over the past and that have like separated children from their families. Same thing that's happening with Trump with Mexico right now. They're
Right.
separating the kids from their families. That's actually happened multiple times in the past. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Mother Teresa. We're going to talk about some maternity homes in Canada, and we're going to talk about apps on your phone that are listening to you and trying to take pictures of your dick. So that's what's going to happen. But first, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to our segment, our new segment. I mean, everything's a new segment because this is the first fucking
first
show,
one, man.
Cal. So we're going to go to our new segment. It's called Endangered Allies, where we talk to endangered species all over the world directly about the plights that they're dealing with and all the bad things that are happening to them and how they're trying to survive out there in this hard, hard world. We don't talk to the people that train them or the conservationists. We go straight to the source. We talk directly to the endangered species itself. So, this week, we are talking to Kevin, the sea otter. Kevin, are you there?
Hi. This is Kevin, the sea otter. I'm a sea otter.
Hi, Kevin. And where do you reside?
I'm in the North Pacific Ocean, mostly. I mean, by that I mean all of us. There's not a lot of us left.
Wow.
Thank you. Hey, I gotta say, for all you GMO motherfuckers out there, stop throwing plastic in the ocean, please.
What kind of plastic is your biggest problem?
Straws, man. Straws are fucking us all up just because you guys are so fucking lazy to open your goddamn mouth and take a goddamn drink of water.
Yeah.
You gotta suck it up through it, and we're choking on that shit. My
I know.
turtle buddies
I know.
are dying a bunch. Fucking straighten it out. Jesus Christ.
Disgusting. Yeah, man, that's absolutely awful. And is this affecting your food sources at all, or the things you're eating? Are they contaminated as well?
Do you know how hard it is to eat the things I'm supposed to when there's just plastic everywhere?
I mean, what are you usually eating? Are you a steak guy? Or are you into cereal?
I primarily eat sea urchin. That's the shit.
Yeah.
And I'll have you know that when you guys keep killing us, we're down to 2,000, by the way.
There's only 2,000 sea otters?
Yeah. You know who there is to fuck down here? Nobody. My sister. I'm banging my sister.
What?
That's all we got.
You're
yeah.
banging your...
Fucking...
My God, Kevin, there's gonna be nothing but inbred otters everywhere.
Yeah, it's not a good world I'm looking at right now, Brian.
Well, is your sister hot at least, or?
Yeah, she is, but that's beside the point, Brian.
I mean, to me, all sea otters look the same. Hello?
To you, yes, I understand.
Is that racist?
But it's a little animal-phobic,
Okay.
I want to say. I don't know the proper terminology for this. Look, we're dealing with a lot of hardships down here. You know, if it wasn't for us, there'd be sea urchins everywhere. Everywhere. You guys would be up to your dick holes in sea urchins. Is that what you want, Brian? Is that what you fucking want?
No, Kevin, I'm sorry, all right? I'll try my best to clean up the fucking ocean, but I'm only one dude. I guess I could stop drinking out of straws.
Stop drinking out of straws. Why do you need bottles of water? That shit's not... It just lays around in lakes.
I mean,
It's crazy.
You pretty much live in it, you know? And you're the world's biggest weasel.
It'd be like me walking around with a bottle of dirt because I don't have a lot of dirt. It's fucking stupid.
That is stupid, Kevin. You're right. Kevin, everybody. Kevin the sea otter. And
Fuck you, Brian. Fuck humans. Fuck humans.
I think he'll get better with time. Doug Ford.
You know what? I was on tour when
If
Doug
you guys aren't aware that are watching, sorry, Kel. If you're not aware, Doug Ford is the new Premier of Ontario. He is the brother of famous fat crackhead and former mayor of Toronto, Rob Ford. And he...
Fat fuck Rob Ford.
You just call me a fat fuck?
Yeah.
You just call me a fat fuck?
Yeah, rest in peace, you fat fuck. Anyway, Doug Ford just got elected. He's rolling back the new curriculum for sex ed to the old curriculum from
98.
98. Sex was different in
You know
98.
what? When you're not fucking anymore.
People were fucking a Limp Bizkit in 98. We shouldn't have children anywhere near that stuff.
I was taking sex ed in public school in 98.
Yeah.
And it was awful. My sex education was, don't fuck, you'll get AIDS and die. That was it. Get out there now and never fuck anybody.
Yeah, I know.
It's ill-informed.
Well,
it's
I think
inaccurate.
a lot of the reason is, a lot of people don't know this, in Ontario, about half of the schools are publicly funded Catholic schools as well. So there's a lot of religious schools in Ontario. And I think what's happening is that a lot of these conservative voters and stuff are having their children coming home from sex ed class in like grade 6, and all of a sudden they know what a same-sex relationship is. And they know what anal sex is and oral sex is, and their religious-ass parents are sitting there like, who told you that? Right?
I like that they think that by not knowing these things, it'll stop them from either being gay or a lesbian or transgender. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if they don't know, they won't ever fuck anyone in the ass. That'll never happen.
Yeah, they'll never figure out what an asshole is if we don't tell them. It's so weird how like parents seem to want to control their children's dicks and butts and pussies and stuff like
That's
that.
because they know how much they fucking abused theirs. For people who grew up in the 60s and 70s and fucked with no condoms forever.
That's my issue. It's always these fucking moonbeam who went to Woodstock or whatever and got plowed out by 100 people. Yeah, yeah.
Now it's nobody gets anything.
Nobody gets anything because we became Episcopalian after Woodstock. No, but it's dangerous, I think, too, because then these kids don't know. They think it's wrong. They start looking at people who are, in same-sex relationships as if they're bad or pieces of shit or something like that because they're being taught ignorance. They're being held from learning about it, and that's how we create ignorance. That's how that shit spreads, is that we just don't teach about stuff. We don't learn about it. But I don't think they want them to. They don't want their kids to know that shit.
There was a time when people thought that if you kiss someone with AIDS, you got AIDS.
Yeah,
That's
Eddie
what
Murphy
ignorance-
did that.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy did that in his special, and like he was like, you go home, you kiss a girl, she got that AIDS on her lip from kissing a gay guy, one of her friends. You're like, what, man?
It's fucked up.
That
And
was
that's
the
what
80s.
that's what ignorance in education does. If you don't educate, you get that kind of ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't have that. Like,
That's a really great example of that. And then he's standing in front of millions of people saying that shit.
Right.
And now you've got like all these people thinking, oh, what if I got kissed by someone with AIDS and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so my friend is a teacher. And
your friend's a teacher in the Ontario school system?
Ontario school system, public school system.
Right on.
And it's not just sex education. Sex education is wrapped up into the health education. So they have a health program throughout the entire year.
Okay.
So a lot of that's teaching kids about diet, proper exercise.
Yeah.
You know.
You're going to want to eat a lot of bananas before you fuck, kids. Keep your potassium up before you get fucked.
And they literally leave sex ed to the very end.
Yeah.
And it's like 4 to 8 hours total on sex education.
What?
And a lot of it is just
in the whole year?
In the whole year. So a lot of it's just about accepting lifestyle. Like, that's what it actually is. It's teaching kids that, you know, you're allowed to love a boy, you're allowed to love a girl.
Yeah.
You know, some people live a different kind of lifestyle. And they just teach them about the different lifestyles that you can lead and how you should accept everybody as a person.
Which is a good thing.
But the conservatives make it sound like, you know, kids are going in singing the national anthem every day, and then afterwards looking at a chalkboard that just says butt fucking on it. And the teacher bends over and goes, look at my asshole.
Yeah.
Here's how you please it.
Yeah, here, welcome to the new curriculum, kids. Butt fucking 101.
So it's
grade 2 is rimming. Grade 3 is... This is what they think is going on, too. They think they're in some fucking Roman grotto getting fucking plowed by Caligula or something every time they go to class.
I could still use a class on the clit, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I could still use a proper...
That should have been... Really? I never understood people being like, it's so hard. Where is the clitoris? It's like, you follow the asshole and you go up till it stops. You know what I mean? You keep going till you hit.
I always live by one simple rule: lick everything until she punches you.
But you like getting punched, so
yeah, I'm a punch guy.
This is the fucking thing too. For so many years, they've had like a stranglehold on what you're allowed to teach children, and so many kids were misinformed and were so ignorant to sexuality because they would go to the public school and the curriculum was behind for sexual education, so it made it easy for their parents, especially if they were fundamentalist religious people, to sort of keep that information away from their kids. Say, for example, you go to a public school and your dad or your parents are like, you know, evangelical Christians or fundamentalist Muslims or Hasidic Jews or something like that. The Hasidics probably wouldn't be in the school, but like fundamentalist sort of religious people that are trying to stop their kids from having sex or thinking about sex, who are trying to teach their children that homosexuality is wrong. That the new curriculum is telling them that homosexuality is okay. Here's where your butthole is. Here's the fucking happy button inside of it. Here's all that shit. And they don't want them to know that. They're trying to desexualize their kids. So the government's stepping in and saying, fuck you. You're not going to teach the kids that. We will, because we don't want this hatred, you know, being so pervasive in our culture, you know? That seems to be it. But now they've rolled it back to 1998. People were fucking a Limp Bizkit in 1998. Cal, I don't know how many times I got to bring this up.
Yeah. I remember my class starting with, first off, students, you do it for the nookie.
Yeah, you do it for the nookie.
All of it.
I can't, oh, God. You can't trust any curriculum that comes out of a time when Fred Durst was looked at as an artist. You know what I mean?
That song's unlistenable. Is it ironic that Christians who you know, think homosexuality is blasphemy and the worst thing, yet every day read a book just riddled with homosexual stories?
The Bible.
Yeah, just full of them all over the place.
Oh, yeah, there's some good stuff in there. Lots of 69ing in the Bible, the deeper you go.
It's like, I don't approve of murder, but I watch the Saw movies every day.
Well, the thing about the Bible is you can make it mean whatever the fuck you want it to mean. Like a sex ed curriculum is very clear. This is what it has to mean. This is what it has to be. You got the Bible. You can find anything in the Bible. There's parts of the New Testament that says like when Jesus says when it's okay to beat your slaves. Like you don't want to kill the slaves, but you know you want to just keep them in line kind of thing. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of shit in it. You can make that book mean whatever the fuck you want it to mean. You know what I mean? Like you could just say
hum through the parts you don't like.
Yeah. And dragons are coming if you butt fuck guys. You know what I mean? Like
this page for rolling papers. And let's move on.
So I don't know if like Doug Ford, the one who's implemented this whole, you know, new curriculum and stuff, or sorry, rolled back the new curriculum to the old curriculum. Do you think that Doug Ford himself is a man who adheres to these moral codes, these religious moral codes?
No.
Come on, he's partied with his brother.
He's speaking to a base.
Yeah.
He's using Trump politics.
He is using
in
Trump
a smaller
politics.
form, in a smaller market, and it's working. And that's what kind of makes me scared being this close to America, because we're feeling the splashback now.
Oh yeah.
Where our conservative, our really right-wing leaning people are becoming much more vocal about their beliefs.
Dude, they're starting to get signals. They're starting to see, oh, that kind of bullshit works. And now there's all these people up here talking like they're fucking wrestling promoters in politics as well now. It's fucking crazy.
There was that crazy psycho who tried to run for the Conservative Party as the leader, and she flat out just didn't want immigration.
Yeah.
Didn't want to bring in... Here's the thing about saving 25,000 Syrians. It's the right thing to do.
Right.
It might be a hard thing to do, but the right thing is always hard to do. That's why it's right.
Also, what was it, 2 million? It's the largest displacement of people since World War II as well. These people aren't like, you know... It's not like they wanted to leave fucking Syria. A lot of them are intelligent, educated people that didn't want to leave their homes. They came out here. Germany was going off. I was in Germany recently, and they were really upset about the immigration there and stuff like that. People in the cities, not so much, but out in the outskirts, it's getting real Hitlery out there. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, Germany, but until the number of refugees that you let in reaches 6 million...
Hey, that's fair.
You got a fucking IOU to the world stage, motherfucker. You owe us 6 million lives. So I think you got about 1 million refugees right now.
Borders are not real. They're made up. They're literally lines in the sand. They don't exist in any sort of capacity other than what we intend them to mean.
Well, I mean, that's
so we just have to change how we feel. Like, I'm an open border person. I think you should be able to travel anywhere in the world and just be anywhere in the world. We share it with everybody else.
Right.
So, you know, obviously it'll never work that way.
I know. That's the thing is, like, it's so idealistic, and I think the same way as you. I think, like, oh, like, you know, I'd love to have it open. I'd love to have people coming and going. But the reality is, like, there's some fucked up people that would take advantage of that shit. And you need to lead some checkpoints every now and again so that you don't have, like, you know, some fucking dude who just killed a family coming up and being like, I just want to be in Canada now. Like, sorry, dude. We got some protocol. But I mean, it is a little bit too hard, I think. And like you're saying, like it's the right thing to do. It's a question of morality. It's not like a question of, you know, we have...
What kind of sick fuck goes, yeah, take their kids.
Yeah.
That'll teach them.
Somebody who's trying to scare an entire population, you know. And I think those people, like, they're just saving face in the public. You know, like when they're in public, they're just basically going off, well, we respect the fact that they're people and blah, 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 and this and that. But the reality is they don't. They fucking don't care. If they could, if they were allowed to, I believe a lot of those fucking people with, like, sessions and shit like that, I think if that little psycho was allowed to, he'd take a fucking flamethrower to every Mexican who ever lived. I really believe that shit. I believe that shit. And I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm fucking talking crazy, but I think that, you ever see that guy's little eyes? He gets all angry, little Keebler fucking Nazi elf and shit. That fucking guy, man, if you gave him the fucking button to nuke Mexico, I fucking guarantee you he'd do it like that. We can't have people like that in office.
And then when America gets nuked back, whoever survived, he'd be like, these are God's chosen people.
Yeah, right. But it's a crazy thing. But we actually looked up. There's a couple other times in history where this has happened with other dictators. Where throughout history, I mean, this happens all the time. History repeats itself so much. We're trying to find a lot of that stuff actually on this show too. It's just like news articles news stories that are happening now. Just how they've already happened, how we've already lived this moment before. Right. So with the immigration, with the children being separated, Chris, do you remember who the dictators were?
There are 6 of them. During the Great Purges, Joseph Stalin's police used to designate some Soviet citizens as enemies of the people.
Not Stalin, not that good guy.
And then would take their children from those families.
Oh, wow. So Stalin separated the children? I imagine Hitler would have been one of them,
if
too.
If Hitler didn't do it,
I'd be surprised.
That'd be weird.
Yeah, that'd be...
If Hitler's like, not my thing, man. That's fucked up.
The one nice thing that he did? Yeah. Kills them all, but, you know, keeps the families together, yeah? Fucking, what were some other ones, though?
In the 70s and 80s, Pol Pot, the leader of the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia, ordered every family that lived in the cities to work in the fields in the countryside. To achieve this, all family members were separated from each other and threatened with violence if they did not work.
Dude, it's very clearly just like a demoralization,
It's
like tactic. It's just trying to absolutely break you and wreck you. And did you see when the kids came out too? A lot of the kids that were caught and like held in those detention centers, a lot of them came out with like scabies and shit like that. Didn't they? The kids are coming out with like diseases and shit.
Jesus Christ! What happened to that American thing? All men are created equal.
Yeah, I think that's over.
I think they.
I don't know.
You should have made a list of who you thought were men, because it's very specific.
There's never been a more bullshit statement in the history of the fucking world.
I think you could solve a lot of
All
this.
people are created equal, especially in that fucking country. It's not true.
If you just elect one child to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So that you have one moral voice of reason. Like, hey, Timmy, what do you think about kids and parents being taken away from each other? No, that's bad. I love my mom.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The kid gets it.
You should all eat ice cream instead. Like, yeah, see?
Yes.
The kid. The kid becomes president. Let's make the fucking kid the president.
Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein expelled tens of thousands of Iraqis of Iranian heritage. In some instances, Saddam kept the children but expelled the parents.
Family man right there.
He kept the kids and expelled the parents?
Yeah.
What a weird dude.
In Myanmar, the military junta has separated Muslim children from their families as part of an ongoing attempt by the Buddhists, which account for 90% of the population, to expel Muslims from the country. Hitler separated children from their families
Knew
on
it.
a large scale.
Knew he was a bad guy.
Called it.
Called it. Hitler.
Under Spanish dictator Francisco Franco, Catholic hospitals were encouraged to steal babies from leftist families at the hospital, telling the parents they were stillborn, and then give the infants to right-wing families to raise.
That's fucked up. That happens a lot, though, especially with, like, religious people separating children. It's not just, like, governments and shit. It happens a lot. The government of Canada and the Catholic Church did it a lot. Residential schools, they used to do that. They used to take the native kids from their families and then just, like, give them to white families and raise them as their own and stuff. They also had things called maternity homes. You know what those are?
No.
It sounds like fun, but it's not.
Sounds like a party house for pregnant moms.
Yeah.
Just candles and bathtubs.
Yeah. Like, it's so fucking crazy, though, man. Like, what they used to do is if these girls, I think this is up until, like, the 50s or 60s, maybe even later, but, like, they would take, like, girls that had kids out of wedlock, like, if they were 16, 17, say, and they had a kid out of wedlock, they would literally take the baby from the mom, and they would even put, like, sheet over between her, like, the bottom and the top of her so that she couldn't see the baby because they didn't want her forming any connection with the baby whatsoever. And this lady that I was watching an interview the other day, she just literally, man, like, just met her daughter the other day. She wasn't allowed to know her and shit. Mother Teresa, though, what they run, the Sisters of Mercy, what they run, a lot of people think they're hospitals for sick people. They're actually hospices, where it's like a place that you go to die. So they have a lot of different diseases that they should be treating. You know, they have people coming in from all over the world, especially in poor third world countries and stuff. They come in and they just basically say to them, well, this is God's choice that this has happened to you, and we're here to pray with you and watch you suffer and die. So these people have
the
literally...
difference being, like, we have hospice in Canada, but it's for people who are terminal and there's no longer any help.
That's right.
There, these people could get help.
That's right.
And
oftentimes
they're told to die for God because that's what he wants.
That's what God wants.
Because he loves us.
God loves us, but he wants to watch it die slowly of a toe infection.
Yeah, and Mother Teresa believed that you made it to heaven through suffering. Suffering was your penance, and that's how you proved yourself to God.
Yeah, she's one of those weird old masochistic Catholics.
But her crew that she left behind, the Missionaries of Charity, they actually have been put up on charges in India for child trafficking.
These people are... It's so crazy. And yeah, look, see...
I wish
doesn't
I was
surprise anybody anymore. Okay, so the Catholic Church did something horrible to kids.
Yeah.
What? What?
Was Gandhi a good guy? I don't even know if Gandhi was a good guy anymore.
Dropped a lot of N-bombs in the early part of his law career.
Does that take away everything else he did?
Some of it.
I don't know how the new culture works anymore. I don't know. I'd love to see a celebrity boxing match of Gandhi versus Mother Teresa.
I think Mother Teresa would win, but she'd do dirty shit like poke him in the eye and stuff like that.
Pull down his diaper.
Yeah, they'd find out later in the replays that she'd fucking like put cayenne pepper on her gloves or something like that and blinded him halfway through the fucking fight. Were you religious or when
was
you
I ever? No.
No,
not really. I went to church a handful of times.
What's that like to just not ever fear your own penis?
Well, my mother was religious, but she was also she was the most progressive religious person I ever met because she straight out read the Bible a bunch. And believed in Jesus, but she straight up was like, Jesus is an alien. She's the first ancient alien theorist I ever met in my life before that was ever a thing.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, she straight up was like, he's an alien. He's come down from space, obviously. So that's what I grew up with.
Wait, what part of space did he come from? Like his own planet kind of thing? That's what
yeah.
the Mormons believe, hey? They believe that if you work hard enough and you're diligent enough that you can eventually become the Jesus of your own planet.
Oh, yeah, they have the tier system, right?
Yeah.
Depending on how good you are, you get a certain level.
And over time, dude, you can get your own fucking planet, bro. Not even just like you go there and you get to live there. Like you get to be the Jesus of the whole planet. You're like the Don Dada of the whole deal. You know what I mean? You're the Jay-Z of the
Sounds
planet.
like some bullshit pyramid scheme to me.
At the end, you're like getting all these DVDs in the mail you didn't order. Son of a bitch again.
$800 a month?
Do you think it's like a giant cult, though, at this point? You know what I mean? Like, they're all fucking... I was raised Catholic. Like, I went to Catholic school. It was fucked up because for so long they just pump into your head like that things like sexuality or whatever is wrong, and that things that just come to you naturally are evil. So what that does is it makes you feel guilty all the fucking time, and it sort of stops you from thinking freely or doing things freely that you might ordinarily do, so they don't have to watch you.
People have this idea that laws and values are cemented, and that's just how it is, and it's not true.
No, they evolve and change with time and stuff like that, much like underwear fashion.
And like anything, if you don't evolve and change with the times and how people feel, you'll get left behind.
Yeah. And then you're just some dude with crappy underwear and pubes that don't match the times that you're living in.
Yeah, you know? Donald Trump, go fuck yourself.
Pubes really change over time. That's how you know what decade you're in, mostly.
They're like pants.
Pubes are coming back.
Yeah, they're back in the porn I've been watching. Tons.
Yeah, lots in the porns now,
I kind of
right?
dig it. I didn't think I would.
Yeah.
'Cause I grew up in that, smooth era.
Yeah, I know. I'm still in that era, you know what I mean? I don't like hair below eyelashes. You know what I mean? And I know some girls are at home going, but we got hair. I know you got hair, okay? But a lot of people, you got to keep yourself kempt. Not everybody. Some people like it. Do you know Cleopatra? Cleopatra used to shave all the hair in her body, remove all the hair in their body. A lot of the Egyptians, they believe that got them closer to God. So all I'm saying is, do you want to get treated like Cleopatra? Or you want to get treated like someone with a hairy butt crack? You know what I mean?
Well, all these things are just fads and trends, right? And
yeah.
How they exist and why they exist is to separate yourself from the main group, to make yourself interesting, right?
Yeah.
So when everybody had pubes, the first person shaved, and everyone went, well, that's interesting. And then more people start doing it until it all swings to the other side.
I think
and then a person goes, well, I'm actually going to grow mine. And they go, well, that's interesting. Then it all just swings. That whole pendulum of life.
It will swing back and forth to ass hair.
Yeah.
But more than that, I think it's more of an issue with ass hair itself. And stuff like that,
that's where
and
the
pubes.
Is.
Well, yeah, and that it's about it being around your face and stuff like that. Don't you have a hard time? If somebody's got a hairy ass crack, are you equally as prone to fucking just dive in there?
I don't give a shit.
You're like, are you kidding me?
I don't give a shit.
A hairy hot dog bun?
If I'm in the moment, it's all about passion for me, man.
La pasión, man.
Yeah.
Wow, fuck. I hope
I'm into that sweaty, gross.
But yo, dude, what if you got fucking somebody splayed out? And they've just got full-on hair all up their butt crack to the bottom of their neck.
Well, here's the thing.
Are you gonna grab the back hair and fuck them? Pull my hair. No, not that hair. The back hair. The shoulder hair.
For one thing, I'm not gonna be having sex with someone who's not more disgusting than I am.
Not with that attitude.
I gotta try a little harder. Yeah. So I mean,
I appreciate you for that.
Me, I'm gonna be gross. I'm a sweaty,
hairy
guy. So who am I to be like, well? No, you got to be a specific way.
Well, that's the thing is I'm also,
You're smooth pretty much everywhere.
I pretty much keep myself pretty smooth. I got hairy legs, but other than that, I've been shaving my balls ever since I had hair on my balls.
You're like a eel with arms.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm like an electric eel. Fucking, the second I got hair on my balls, I was like, fuck this. Just never liked it. So I've been, since I was 14, I've been shaving my balls. I don't know what my balls look like with hair on them.
Yeah, my balls, the hair looks like a fucking tree out of a Tim Burton film.
Really?
Just fucking all angles.
Black and white stripes all the way up.
Make terrible films. Awful movies.
Doom, 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 boom, boom, boom. And the skeleton children realized Cal's pubes were disgusting. Bum. And marking.
Fuck, I miss doing podcasts. These are so fun.
It's not a podcast. It's a video experience. I don't want it to be a pod. Don't call it a podcast. This is not a podcast. And you fucking don't edit this out either. This is not a podcast. This is a video experience. It's an internet video experience. An internet video show. Not a podcast is the point.
Sorry, man. Fuck.
But feel free to download it on iTunes and just listen to the audio in the podcast section. But anyway, back with Cal Post. Good friend and great comedian. Travels all over the good goddamn.
Hello again.
We're going to talk about Doug Ford's education minister because we were talking about the curriculum being rolled back for sex ed. The credentials she has to be education minister are actually pretty high there, Cal. She was a goat farmer.
Oh.
She lived around goats her whole life.
You're responsible for a generation of students' educations.
Yeah. You want someone who's from Teeswater, Ontario, town of 1100, who knows about goats. You know what I mean? And really, like, get the kids to learn about their...
You want to mix the feed with the dead of the other goats to save yourself a bit of cash.
Yeah. They're going to do sex ed on, like, the anatomy of a goat. They're like, grade 1, here's what a goat's dick looks like, kids.
They gave her a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, because of the goats, man. You know how hard goats are to fucking wrangle? You ever been on a goat farm, Cal?
You know what blows my mind about rolling something back, like a curriculum like that? Imagine if somebody came forward and was like, we're rolling back the science curriculum.
Yeah.
Earth's flat again.
Yeah.
It's just flat.
You sound like you're from fucking Mississippi or something like that. Let's listen to it right now. This is Goat Fucker from Teeswater.
I would like to share with you today that contrary to what was reported last week, we are going to stand firmly in support of students and the realities they face in 2018. We know they need to learn about consent. We know they need to learn about cyber safety. We know they need to learn about gender identity and appreciation. But we also know that the former Liberal government's consultation process was completely flawed. And that's where we're going to focus in, and we're going to respect parents and allow them a chance to once and for all have their voices heard in a very fulsome, thoughtful, inclusive consultation.
Supplementary question.
Wholesome and inclusive.
I talked louder, so it matters more.
Yeah. Well, you could tell she was like practicing it like in front of her goats for like a long time. You know what I mean? Like all the goats on the farm. She's like, all right, gather round. I'm practicing. I got my fucking big speech coming up. Everybody out front.
Literally treating people like sheep.
Get the chickens too. I want them to hear this. Teaching about gender identity, I guess that's something that maybe the conservative government will teach
You
on.
know you're straight.
But it's like, yeah, I think theirs is going to be more like, look between your legs. Whatever it is, that's your fucking deal.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, put it in the opposite.
Understand?
Yeah. Could you imagine? Sometimes I wonder, though, like, what kind of sex these people actually have. Like, you know, conservative people. Because they always end up the ones, like, people who are like, oh, you should never have sex are always the ones that end up in a fucking hotel room banging somebody on meth or some shit like that.
Yeah, I do as much damage as they can do in terms of rolling back curriculum, too. I do have a lot of faith in the actual teachers who have to teach this stuff.
Do you?
Yeah, and they, like, I had some good teachers in my life who did teach and would go against curriculum and teach. Like, I had a history teacher who straight up was an atheist. Told us he was an atheist.
Wow.
And, you know, I came from a little small town where the students were like, well, that's just wrong. How could you possibly? And he's like, you're a 15-year-old girl and your cleavage is sticking out. Why would I even listen to your opinion? This guy was awesome.
This guy just roasted the kids all the time?
But he acknowledged and was open-minded to new ideas and concepts, which taught me a lot about that as well.
Right.
So I do have a lot of faith in teachers not just going with curriculum and going, all right, now we got to roll it back and just teach it how it used to be taught and... You know, don't fuck or you'll die.
Don't fuck or your dick will blow up.
Yeah, so I don't think we have those kind of teachers.
That's what it was. Okay, but here's the thing. You were in a public school. Like, and we got to remember, in Ontario, there are a lot, like almost half of the schools are Catholic. Right? So, like, it was a way, the reason it is because back in the day, they wanted to sort of preserve the French culture, and that was Catholic. So they allowed the Catholic schools to have public funding in Ontario. The Catholic school, over time, took that fucking ball and ran with it, and now we've got all these bloody Catholic schools all over the place indoctrinating kids about to be afraid of their penises.
And tons of Catholic schoolgirl porn rampant on the internet.
Up until that curriculum, this new curriculum came in, the Catholic schools were not teaching about things like condoms and stuff like that. So you've got in 2015 is when they got made to do it, you know? Where it's like even 2013, 2014, 2012, they're still not teaching kids about condoms, and thus the disease is spread through those communities a lot easier. But their whole thing is what they used to say was that, well, we're not going to teach them about condoms because we teach abstinence. You think
That's
teenagers
not a
don't
thing.
fuck? Like, if we know anything about teenagers, it's that they hate to fuck. No, you idiots. They're all going to be banging. It's all they do, you know? So you have to teach them that shit.
It's all people do.
But again, this is the thing that I think that the government is trying to do is just step in and be like, okay, you guys this is a public health issue that you guys aren't teaching this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And them rolling it back, I think, is just like putting it back to the way the Catholic Church wants it, where they can decide, you know, what people learn about human sexuality as opposed to...
Another example of not learning from the past. Did no one pay attention to the Middle Ages?
Nobody.
It was horrible.
There was a lot of fucking in the Middle Ages, though,
Tons.
you know? A ton of fucking. You ever seen those old paintings? So much fucking. But in the Middle Ages, too, like the Catholic priests and stuff, they were allowed to marry still. It was up until like the 15 or 1600s they were allowed to marry, right? And then they basically just started snagging land, because when the priests, if they owned anything, then when they die, if they didn't have a family, the stuff would revert to the church, and that's how the church accumulated a lot of their
And they
money.
didn't want women owning their land.
No, I don't think they did, because girls tend to do more fun stuff with it, you know?
Yeah, enjoy life.
Yeah.
Age gracefully.
Yeah, right? Make some nice gardens.
Accept different kinds of people.
Right. Women are better
How did
at
Greece
that.
get it so right so many years ago?
Greece.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
like
like
ancient Greek times.
Oh, yeah. They didn't even have a concept of what gay was. There was just, like, the person who got fucked and the person who did the fucking. It's a weird fucking thing. As time goes on, you know, these institutions still try to hold on to their power, but it's just, it's not happening. And as much as this government is going to try to, like, go backwards and you know, recess all the advancements that have been made in sexual education, you know, give it a couple years and it'll go back the other way, and
The pendulum swings again.
Yeah, but I do got to say this. Fucking the fact that a goat farmer from a town of 1,100 people is dictating the sexual education in this fucking province is one of the most fucked up things that's ever happened. And we're gonna have a fun time with you. What's your name? Lisa Thompson?
Lisa Thompson.
Oh, Lisa, you're going to be hearing a lot from Glorious and Free. We're going to get your phone number. We're going to have some conversations. We're going to buy some goat's milk from you. It's going to be fucking great, babe. You're going to fucking love us. Cal, we're going to send Cal to your house.
I want some goat tips.
Teach you about gender identity and goats and stuff like that.
Oh, man. What a disaster.
Thanks for hanging, Cal.
No
Appreciate
problem,
it
dude.
so
Super fun.
far on the first ever edition of Glorious and Free. So this last thing that we're going to talk about, sweet logo, eh?
Very sweet.
Took me
Do you use an app for this?
20 years to make that. We basically took a Canadian maple leaf here, turned it black, and then we got a 4-year-old to scribble on it.
You're the last rebel, Bryan O'Gorman.
I hope there's more rebels out there, but there's just not a lot of media going out in Canada. We were having this conversation before. There's not a lot of anything coming out of Canada that's, you know, like critical of a lot of the stuff that's going on in the government. A lot of people don't know. Most of the, I'm not saying this is a news source, but most of the news sources in Canada and a lot of the shows are funded by the government. So, like, we have grant systems in Canada and stuff where they're giving these guys, if you look at the end of the news, it'll say funded by the government of Canada and this and that. So we don't need any more, you know, shows that are fucking falling in line and just reporting stuff, you know, the way the politicians want them to. We're going to call goat farmers who run education ministerships and, you know, send them packages of poo.
Because they don't know what they're talking about.
No, I don't think I do either, but I think nobody does. And I think, like, at least we need some kind of voice of people, like, talking, like, just yelling back at them. Because right now we've just got nothing but fucking corporate media and fucking government-funded media telling people what's happening, and it's just... We need people like you, Cal.
We have a very emotionally structured system right now. It seems to be how people get things done now. If you scream the loudest and are the most upset, that's how you attain things that you need or desire. And the Conservative Party's done that. The Liberal Party's done it on the other side.
Yeah.
Where if we just complain and are upset, then somebody should fix it.
Yeah.
And that has no place in creating laws, legislation. That should be done thoughtfully and more mindfully.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed, Cal. We're going to talk about one more thing before I let you go. If this ever happened to you before, like you're talking about something in front of your phone, and then you pull up your phone, and the first thing on your phone, it's like advertisements for the thing you were just talking about?
Or, I've had that.
I think they call it peripheral advertising. There's a couple terms for it. Like, the phone is basically listening to you. And I used to think I was being paranoid with this fucking thing. I used to, like, all day be like, there's no way it's listening to me. There's no way it could hear what I'm saying. But what happened was, like, probably a couple weeks ago, some friend of mine was telling me about a band that he thought I should go see. I'd never heard the name of the band. I've never heard the band. I've never downloaded anything. I've never seen a video by the band. We just had a conversation about them. First thing, I look up on my phone, and I open my Facebook, and it's all just tour dates for the band he was just talking about.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? Am I crazy or are the robots listening to me, Cal?
The robots are listening to you. And, well, you heard that story about the Google Home device that it was a speaker. It was just sitting in a person's home and it was laughing.
What?
Like in the middle of the night. Like it was just down in the base or down in the living room. They could hear it laughing.
Why?
It was some malfunction thing, but some codes got crossed. But yeah, all these things are listening.
That's so fucking scary.
Yeah. All these things are listening for sure.
Yeah, it's
they're
like
they're built to listen though. They're built to listen. They have to be turned off. So if they don't turn them off, then it's just collected data.
Okay, but what about like the apps? Like there was one thing that Chris had looked up about these different apps. Like some of the worst apps for doing it. So when you go through and you just do their terms of and conditions of using it and stuff like that, and you just
Read
accept.
this biblical
yeah.
diatribe.
Somewhere in these 2,000 pages, there's something that says that we're taking pictures of your dick. But like it's so strange, eh? Like the thing, it seems to actually do facial recognition at this point. Is this okay? Well, let's talk about this. What are the apps that are the worst? Because we got to warn people about these apps.
So there's a website called privacygrade.org. Grades are assigned using a privacy model that measures the gap between people's expectations of an app's behavior and the app's actual behavior. Apps are rated from A to D.
There's no Fs? There's no Fs. They just pass them. They're like those nice teachers that would give you 50.
The grading system got rolled back. The curriculum got...
Number 1 is Draw Something Free.
Draw Something Free is a really big app.
This is what you just draw something?
Yeah, you just draw shit.
Yeah, it includes
Kinda.
several advertisers' libraries and uses the read phone status and identity permission to pass advertisers your phone number, call log,
Jesus
signal
Christ.
information.
So it's giving the app, if you sign up for the app, it's giving advertisers your information, your phone number.
I was going to say, how's it getting your dick pic?
Oh, my God.
The next one is Words with Friends.
I have words with friends.
Oh, you're going to have words with your phone
They know so
now.
much more than just my words.
What's Words with Friends, Cal?
It's Scrabble, but it's a little better than Scrabble. It's easier to connect with people and play Scrabble against them. The game's a little, it's slight rule changes to make it more fun.
Yeah, now Scrabble owns all your fucking dirty pics. How do you feel about that?
It has a D rating, which is the lowest.
Hooray.
They really need to implement F because F is generally lower than D.
Next one, Go Locker. This app acts as a screen locker for your phone. In exchange, you give it full network access, precise location, and the ability to retrieve information on currently and recently running apps on your device.
It's crazy. But anyway, I guess there's just like, I mean, this is just like some of the worst offenders when it comes to this stuff. But a lot of these apps are like that, man. Like, I mean, there's so many of them where you just sort of, you look at it and you're like, whatever, I'll just accept the terms and conditions. Nobody ever cares because then you can't use the app.
Well, I mean, the ultimate truth is they're listening, they're watching, and there's not like a person on the other end watching the shit. There's too much data coming in. All this is for the purpose of commerce. It's for the purpose of selling you stuff.
Right.
That's all it's for. And they've been collecting data like this since the invention of economy.
Right.
It's just now it's just really super precise.
It's so advanced,
and
you
it's
know.
advanced. But it's not like there's another guy on the other side looking at your dick while you stroke it. It's like, Jesus, look at him go. It's not like that. I mean, some of this stuff can be used to hang you if you're running politically or, it can be used for vengeful tactics, I imagine.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's for commerce. And if you really want to get out of it, it's really simple. Stop using the internet, delete all your social networks, throw your phone in the garbage, get a flip phone, and you're fine.
But who's doing that though anymore?
Nobody.
You gotta like to be in the modern world to operate in this economy, this world, this
Uber
society.
Eats, if Uber Eats, it's worth someone looking at my dick. That's the trade-off. But as long as people know and understand the trade-off, that's what's really in question.
This is the biggest issue is that I think it's like, it's so sneaky. Like they slip that shit in there and you're like, if I knew that I was being advertised to or that you're using this information, I totally wouldn't agree to this, but they're hiding it.
Get off your phones!
Yeah, watch out for those apps, for God's sake. All right, sure.
Get off your phone, but listen to the podcast.
It's not a podcast. It's an internet video experience.
Okay, next, Go Weather Forecast and Widgets. From the same company that brought you Go Locker, this app brings you the weather and a forecast. It uses the same invasive practices as Go Locker. Camera 360 Ultimate. This photo editing app has the Baidu search engine library built in. In addition to full network access, precise location, and running app retrieval, Camera 360 Ultimate can write to your phone's USB storage, take pictures, and record audio through the microphone.
Oh, yeah, there's those ones that come from other countries. Like, yeah, the one he's talking about is from China, and it's like a search engine that has the ability to turn, like you said, like your phone on, your camera on, your microphone on.
Anytime you see it, like a new technology, it's usually built on the back of another technology. Right. So it's data that's moved from one place to another. So when, like when Apple releases a new AR kit, that's, that way people can build these incredible apps and, artificial realities, but it's built on the backs of other coding by other people from data that they got from previous work. So it's just where all the money is.
Yeah.
What's shitty is you can't opt out.
But look, if you need a warrant to tap somebody's phone if you're the cops, why don't you need it if you're a fucking Scrabble app? It doesn't make any sense, right? Like, I know people are agreeing to it, and I guess that would, obviously
offset
the warrant or whatever the fuck, but it's just an insane thing. And also, a lot of it, like, we forget that, in Canada, I forget what that bill is. It's 15.
C-51.
51. Yeah, they can still record our stuff. That's still in. They don't even need warrants. They can check our phone records, right? Medical records, dental records, emails, all that shit.
The government can. I'm not sure to what extent they can use it in a criminal case against you.
And the government can see our dick pics, Cal. The government can see our dick pics.
You know what, Justin Trudeau, have at it, man.
You know what I've been doing, to sort of fight back against this plight of the government looking at my dick pics, is I've been making protest dick pics, Cal. Yeah, I'll dress my dick up like a Guantanamo Bay prisoner, and I'll shave fuck the feds into my pubes, and then I take pictures of it, and I put it in all those pictures in a single folder, and I label it gay cocaine terrorist agenda, and I just hope that they stumble upon it,
My Talking Tom.
Oh, the cat that talks.
The Cat That Talks
Love
includes
that
a whopping 8 targeted ad libraries, and in addition to your phone's identifying information, it can also write to your phone's USB storage and sends the advertiser's audio from the microphone. That's a kid's app.
Yeah. Do you think there's any of those people at those companies just listening to people's conversations? Like, it's not computers, it's just people like, oh man, this guy's talking about a goiter on his fucking chode, and they're just like, ew. That's what I'm nervous is like when they're gonna listen to me while I've got the phone next to me while I'm pooping or something like that.
Dude, in 50 years when it's all in transplants and just everyone's completely comfortable with their privacy being taken away, there's gonna be guys like us like, remember the good old days when they just looked at your dick? those are the days.
Yeah. Now they're like mapping out your genome and fucking figuring out like your brain matter and stuff. Oh, man. What a fucking fun time, man. Thanks so much for coming out and doing this first one, man. I really appreciate it.
Super fun.
Here on Glorious and Free with B.O.G. And, dude, we're going to have you back so many times. You're going to see a lot from Cal, and he's a great comic. Do you want to hit just like your Twitter and your Instagram and all that?
Twitter is at CalPost. Instagram's the one I use a lot, Cal_post. Super fun. See pictures of me just around the city doing shit.
Yeah, it's all those dick pics we were just talking about. And you don't even need a warrant.
No warrant necessary. Just ask. You just got to ask.
All right. Thanks a lot, Cal. Thanks a lot, guys, for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week on Glorious and Free.
Booyah.